Good morning. Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, honorable members of Parliament, members of the bereaved family, distinguished guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen. We gathered today to honor the life of a woman who touched many hearts, Beatrice Wairimu Mbugua, fondly known to us as Betty Bayo. Betty was born in 1985 in Jiku Village, Karuri, in Kiambu County. She was the cherished daughter of Joyce Wairimu and the late George Mbugua Kang'ethe. Raised in a strong Christian home alongside her siblings and extended family, Betty grew into an obedient, hardworking, and loving young girl. Even as a child, she carried a gentle spirit and a willingness to help wherever she could. Betty began her schooling at St. Joseph Nursery School, later joined Gitare Primary School, and completed her primary education at Mihuti Primary in Nyandarua County. She went on to Riara Secondary School, where she completed her KCSE in 2004. Her desire to grow led her to train as a hairdresser in Kiambu. She studied video and photography at Imara Studios and later pursued journalism under Jogu Wanjoroge, completing her internship at Kameme FM. At the time of her demise, she was studying for a bachelor's degree in theology at Landmark Theological Baptist Seminary at Ridgeways, Nairobi. Betty was a woman who embraced learning and pursued her dreams with determination. Many of us came to know and love Betty through her music. She released her first album, 11th Hour, and went on to produce 4 albums and several singles that ministered deeply to thousands. Her first album, launched at St. Andrews, Nairobi, drew great crowd, proof of how God had lifted her from humble beginnings and used her as a vessel of encouragement. Betty traveled across Kenya and to different nations, touching lives with her voice, her testimony, and her unwavering faith. Through her songs, she reminded us that God remains faithful even in life's darkest moments. Betty was a very kind-hearted woman who interacted with fellow artists. She was a committed member and the secretary of Blessed Beautiful Sisters, and also a devoted member and trips and events organizer of Royal Family Club until her demise. Marriage and family. In 2012, Betty met Pastor Kanyari, and together they were blessed with 2 wonderful children, Sky Victor and Danny Victor. Though their union later came to an end, God continued to guide her steps. In 2021, she found love again and married Hiram Gitau Muthoni, known to many as Tash. They built a beautiful life together in Kenya and occasionally in the United States. Her children and her husband were her joy. Betty was not only a gifted musician, she was enterprising, generous, and visionary. She completed building her mother's house, a moment celebrated with joyful housewarming in 2016. She also held a memorable homecoming at Karuri Primary School, where she generously donated uniforms and shoes to children at Kavbadhi Primary. Betty ventured successfully into marketing, real estate, travel promotion, and beauty products. In 2023, Betty, together with her husband, founded a real estate company dealing in land and homes. She also established Tambua Production, a video and photography studio. Betty always dreamed bigger, reached higher, and worked harder. At the time of her passing, she was preparing a new album, one that, though unfinished, remains a symbol of her unwavering passion for ministry. Illness and final moments. In her final days, Betty fell ill and was treated for low hemoglobin, receiving several transfusions. Though she seemed to recover briefly, her condition worsened and she was eventually diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia, a condition that affected her blood's ability to clot. She was transferred to Kenyatta National Hospital for specialized care. On 10th November 2025, at 9 a.m., surrounded by God's peace, Betty rested in the Lord at the age of 39 years. She leaves behind her beloved children, Sky and Danny, her loving husband, Herman, her dear mother, Joyce, her mother-in-law, Bishop Hannah Muthoni, her siblings, Irene Wanjiku, Moses Kariuki, John Gugi, Charles Gatimu, Susan Wangari, Peter Njuguna, Edward Kangede, and their families, and her brother-in-law, Thuo, and his family. To conclude, today, we celebrate a life well lived, a life of faith, courage, music, generosity, and love. God gave us Beatrice Werimu. We called her Limori. You call her Betty Bayo. And in his perfect wisdom, he has taken her home. May her memory comfort us. May her legacy inspire us. And may her soul rest in peace. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Peter Bogwa. Tumpigie makofi for encouragement. Thank you. That is the eulogy for Betty Bayo ambaye siku hii ya leo tunamwomboleza. Ningependa tuweze kuingia kwa tributes. Nafasi hii ni nzuri, and I pray that we respect Betty Bayo by just keeping quiet. Sindio?